So you have written books and screenplays and poetry.
Yeah.
That's
but much later.
Right,
of course.
right. Yeah. Let's talk about your books. Let's go into your books and your screenplays because they're one and the same.
One and the same. Well,
yes and no. Right.
What kills me is that I wrote the screenplay first for 2 different books, and then wrote the books.
Most people don't do it that way, do
It's
they?
not normal, but I'm sure it has been done.
I could go off on that, but I'll just leave that.
And then I've written books where I adapted the screenplay to the screenplay.
Right.
And
let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about Lumina.
Trolley to Lumina. I lived in North Carolina briefly. I was turned on to this iconic ballroom called Lumina Ballroom in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. I lived in Wilmington, which is right next to it. And I looked into it and went to the actual museum of Lumina Ballroom. And it just...
It's a museum just for the ballroom?
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. I mean, there's even, what do you call it? I can't think of the name right now.
You know, in order to have a museum dedicated just to the ballroom, it must have such a rich history.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about this place is that it was, to the young people of today who never saw Lumina when it deserved its appellation, Beautiful Palace of Light, all I can say is, I'm sorry. You have really missed something. And that was a quote from Lewis Philip Hall, who created the Shag, which is the dance of North and South Carolina. It's the state
it's called
dance.
The Shag?
It's called the Shag, I know. British people are going to get a kick out of that one.
Right.
So I wrote the screenplay first, and then I went to the book. And then, I don't know, I thought, it needs to be a book. You know, it's always in the back of my mind, God willing, that I'll have the screenplay produced at some point in time.
Yeah.
And there's so much great music from that era, dancing, the ballroom, the fashion, and it's a love story between a woman who was an heiress, but in reality, in real life, she was the first woman to receive her pilot's license in North Carolina in 1928. So I focused on that year because it was also the year of the creation of the Shag and the Feast of the Pirates. And that was done about for 3 years, and they had to stop because it was pretty insane. It was during Prohibition, and a lot of people were still drinking, and it was hard to handle. So by the people out there who didn't want people drinking. But what I was going to say is that she falls in love at Lumina because it leveled the playing field with everybody. Everybody who loved to dance went. And this is a farmer from Ukraine who she fell in love with. And it's their love story, and I love it. I love what I came up with. I was so proud of myself because it's my first time doing anything like this, writing a novel. It's historical fiction.